Good to see you. You came at a good time. I'm here with Tessu. Thanks for
Hello.
coming.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You do some very interesting art. I've never seen anything like what you do. Do you when the like what I see on Instagram
Hmm.
is that are you building that on the spot?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Aside from the reels where I'm just like, obviously not singing into a mic, dancing around, whatever, those are all 100% live. I record the video at the same time that I'm recording the audio, and that's why some of them I actually really don't like. I kind of screwed them up, but I was like, I don't have time. I need to post today, so I posted it anyway. But hopefully people can't tell.
Do you do daily content?
I do weekly.
Weekly?
So I unfortunately have a day job like
Yeah.
most people, so I can't
I
can't
understand.
commit to daily, at least not yet. So I post on Sundays.
Okay. When you said you have to get something out, I thought, yeah, you have a timeline. You do it on Sundays.
Yes.
Okay, very cool.
I noodle, like I just play around with my gear and some ideas throughout the week. And then I generally finish then I do that for a day or two generally, and then like Thursday, Friday, I start kind of listening back through, okay, I kind of liked that and wasn't a fan of that. And then by Saturday, I'm like, since I have more time on Saturdays, I'm really like thinking about, okay, what's the order that I'm going to sing everything in? What's the layers? How am I going to build it? And then I start writing the lyrics after I've got the whole kind of backtrack part. Um, and that normally takes forever. So that's why I only do like half songs really on my Instagram stories or reels. They're called. They're not stories. But yeah, so I do. Um, I work on the lyrics, and then once I've got like a solid lyric that I like, then I rehearse, and by that time it's basically Sunday night, and I'm like, okay, gotta post, and then I edit after I film. So
That's so cool. How'd you start doing that?
um, start making the reels
Yeah,
or
um, like the fact that you like build it live and then like that's the product that we see.
gotcha.
Where'd you get the idea for that?
I guess it's kind of a couple reasons. I started off doing looping with Ableton. So I would like I had a MIDI controller, and I would just control the program with that MIDI controller. Um, and I liked using Ableton, but I did not like performing with a computer.
Okay.
So that was really the kind of driving force behind me wanting to go completely analog with pedals. So then I was just kind of like thinking, how can I? Because I don't really, I can make my way around a piano. It's not great, but I was like, how can I do this with just my voice? How can I build an entire track and make it feel full and um, and fleshed out with just my voice? So that's when I kind of was like, well, looping. But then I was like, but I don't have a bass range, obviously. So that's when I bought my drop pedal. So it's literally just a guitar pedal that drops everything like a certain amount of steps based on what I set it. So that's really been helpful for fleshing out things. So yeah, that was I guess
Yeah,
kind of the start of it all.
that's cool. When you perform live, is that like songs you've already written?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not improv.
Okay.
I am not that good at it.
That would be hard.
Yeah, there are people who do.
And it'd be risky.
Yeah, there are people who are really good with looping and live looping improvisations. That's not me.
How long have you been doing like the reels like that?
I think that's been about 3 months.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's really
Wow,
new.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And you've already had a gig. How did the Bowery Vault go?
It went really well. I had my friends Quinn Hills and Joe Corso open for me. Quinn is a really great singer songwriter. She's just got this really cool kind of um, Americana, but also kind of grungy a little bit in some ways. Very honest songwriting. I really like her stuff. And then Joe Corso's got he does like finger tapping
Oh,
on
cool.
the guitar, so he's amazing with manipulating the overtone series on his guitar and just making the space shine. pretty
Nice.
neat. And then I performed with a set of my live looping stuff, and it was really good. We had a really decent crowd actually. I was really happy that we got enough people there because we were promoting it like crazy. So I'm glad it all paid off.
Yeah, I bet that was a cool show to see at Bowery Vault.
I think it really was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure no one's there had seen anything like what you do, and it would have been a cool place to see what you do.
Well, I actually did meet. So my mom actually came along with my dad, and she brought a couple friends. And one of her friends' husbands is actually a producer, Mike Green, and he mentioned the artist Laurie Anderson. I don't know if you're familiar, but she does. It's not exactly what I do, but it's very much in the same realm of what I do. And I was like, and I'd actually heard of Laurie Anderson previously. She's pretty well known in the kind of performance art scene, from what I understand. Or performance.
From here?
No.
Okay.
I actually don't know where she's from. But yeah, she's and she was. I think she had a #1 hit in like, or not #1 hit, but like it went on the Billboard charts or something. It went on some chart. What was it? It was like in the 80s or something. It was like
Okay.
It was a weird, like,
Wow.
whoa, I wasn't expecting this to be popular, kind of thing,
Yeah.
but it was.
That's really like that's very adventurous. Like back in the '80s, doing that.
Yeah. And again, she doesn't do like exactly what I do, but again, it's like kind of in the same realm.
Yeah.
So it's hard to describe. You just gotta go listen to her.
Well, definitely keep an eye out for Tessu. Alice and I expect big things.
Okay.
The fact that you've only done this for 3 months, I think you got a good idea of like who you are, and you have a good voice too.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I've been doing like singing for a long time. I did a lot of choir actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of people when they listen to my voice, they're like, "You've had training of some kind," and I'm like, "Yeah, I did a lot of choir, like a lot of choir."
Did was religion big in the household?
My parents are Catholic and Methodist respectively.
Okay.
So, and I went to a Catholic high school.
Gotcha.
So I'm familiar with that aspect of Christianity.
Okay.
I am not Christian, but
Okay.
yeah.
I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I feel you.
What was that like?
What was that like?
Sorry, I know it's kind of a loaded question.
What was that like? I was also homeschooled.
That tracks.
So yeah. So I was really cool. I was a very cool kid. Yeah, I mean, everyone I knew was in my church, literally.
Okay.
Until I was 18 and moved out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where was that?
Where did I grow up?
Mm-hmm.
About an hour south of here.
Okay.
In Fayetteville, Tennessee.
Okay.
Right above Alabama. Where are you from?
It's such a hard question to answer because I moved around a lot.
Okay. Gotcha.
But I guess primarily I would say I'm from Louisiana.
Okay.
Because I spent like from age 12 to 18 there, so I feel like those are pretty formative years.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that your family came out to your show. Are they from here?
No, my dad is from like Ohio, and my mom Kentucky.
Wow, so they traveled to come see you?
No, they live here now. Sorry, that's where they're like from and where my family's from.
Gotcha. So you got family here now. That's cool.
Yes. So,
right on.
Yeah, they actually so once I graduated college I went to school in Atlanta. Once I graduated, I was like living in Atlanta for a little bit, working at like Marshall's, and it was not a very good time. So I was like making no money, and I was very sad. Anyway, we don't have to talk about that, but I was like, I had a chance to get out of my lease. Thank you, roaches. And so I was like,
shout out to roaches.
Shout out to roaches. So I took that opportunity to move back in with my parents who had moved here to Mount Juliet, and then got my life kind of turned around, and so,
Awesome.
yeah.
Glad to have you in Nashville. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bink.
Bink.
Yeah, I heard the most recent one you put up about Atlanta.
Yeah. Exactly.
Sounds awesome.
It
Sounds
was
like a great time.
It was. I mean, Atlanta was fun for a while, but once I had graduated, there was really nothing left for me.
So, Alice, before you got here, we were talking about objectivity
and music.
In
right?
music.
Yeah.
What is art? Like, if you had to define art. Expression. Okay. Yeah. So there's like, okay. So for example, a tree or like a mountain is not art.
It can be.
Okay. Okay. All right. So is something expressing that?
The earth.
The earth. Okay. Gotcha. That's Earth's art.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that. So. Okay.
And I take a lot of inspiration from her.
Yeah.
So.
Yo, shout out to
Earth.
I like that answer. So it is expression, but it doesn't have to have a human component.
Yeah.
Okay. Nature is Earth's art.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we were talking about objectivity, which I have this inclination that art is objective, but I also like that's kind of like an obnoxious stance for me to take because I can't really back that up at all. I can't explain that because that all evidence would actually point to the opposite of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what
that could be your opinion is that music is objectively good or bad.
Yeah.
So that would be a subjective.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I would also be the first to say that like that doesn't mean that I have good taste in music. It can tell you like what is good and what is bad. I guess what makes me feel that way, and this is something we were talking about earlier, is I would not put someone like Justin Bieber or Taylor Swift on the same scale as Bach or Mozart. And I think part of that is accessibility. I think part of that is proficiency and like skill. But there's got to be more criteria than that. I couldn't tell you what that is though. Maybe popularity is a metric.
Okay.
But also like that doesn't really work because so much of popularity in music is paid for. Like paying to have your songs played. So that doesn't really work. I don't think popularity would be a metric. Also, you would need to like take all of music and somehow like rank it, which like you wouldn't. That's an impossible.
It's
task.
like apples and oranges when you compare Bach and Mozart and all that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's a good point. That's a good point. You would have to isolate it down to like genre.
Yeah, but even then, genres are kind of blurry lines a lot of the times.
That's true. Yeah, maybe I'm full of shit. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, maybe you are.
All right, until proven wrong, art is subjective.
I like that answer.
What about morality? We were talking about objectivity and morality.
Yeah.
So, like the trolley problem.
No, I don't. Oh wait, yes, the trolley problem. Yeah. Where like you pull the lever, it'll kill one person or three or whatever to direct the train. Okay, yes.
I think there is a correct and incorrect answer to this.
Okay.
Regardless of like what I would do in the moment, like I might make the wrong decision.
But you think
there's still a right and a wrong decision there.
Obviously, to kill the 3 people.
Yeah.
Obviously, including my relatives. Obviously, kill them.
Yeah.
No, I think. Yeah, I mean, I would probably agree with that. Like, objectively, in my opinion, killing fewer people would be better in this isolated scenario.
Yeah. The counter argument to that would be
the lesser evil.
Yes. Yeah. both are bad. Both.
Yes.
There's a lots of life involved.
Yes.
But that's, I guess, that is if we're talking about objectivity and morality, it's not like binary, like good and evil. It would be a scale.
Yeah.
So like some things are more evil than
Right.
other things.
Yeah.
So the counter argument to that
Okay.
would be like, well, if you flip the switch, now you are guilty. Like you chose to take a life.
You chose rather than just letting it happen, whichever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whichever
so you're
way
not,
it was initially going.
right. So the argument would be that you're not culpable. Yeah, what you said. You're not.
If you let it happen.
Yeah.
Whichever way the lever is already. What if it's in the middle and there's like, I don't know. Wait. What if there are people on the train, and if you don't divert the train, it will kill even more people? Like the trolley problem, you've got 3 people, 1 person, and a brick wall that will blow up and make the whole train disappear. I don't know. I'm just messing around, but
yeah, I don't know.
So people are gonna die no matter what.
People are gonna die no matter what.
You now have the obligation to kill fewer people.
Yes.
Yes. Well, towards 1 person.
It'd just be a numbers game at that point.
Exactly.
But I guess that's actually a good point, because it's a numbers problem either way. Well, I wouldn't take part in killing this 1 person. Yeah, but by not doing that, now 3 or 8 or 10 people are gonna die. In my opinion, you're still guilty for that. Inaction is guilt.
Still an action.
Exactly.
I got you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's really the other argument is you're just trying to make yourself feel better by not being involved.
Yeah.
So the trolley problem, there's actually multiple levels to it. It's the next level is, this is a weird one.
Okay.
But this is such a weird example. I wish they could have come up with a better version of it. But you're standing on a bridge and there's a train coming and there's 100 people behind you.
Okay.
And you know that if you push this big person next to you off of the bridge, that will somehow stop the train, which is a ridiculous analogy.
Okay.
But
we're just gonna suppose that this would happen.
Suppose that you know that this would work.
Okay.
People feel differently about it because now you are physically pushing someone.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I'd probably do it.
But it's still there is a correct answer to this. Even if it makes you uncomfortable, the correct answer is to push that person.
Yeah. To kill, to save more lives. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that is objectively true regardless of how anyone feels about it, I guess. And that's I think this is true of any moral question.
So you think every moral question does have an objective,
a correct answer and an incorrect answer, or a better answer?
Okay.
Yeah. There's some more fun.
But you do have to remember that all of these are hypotheticals in a vacuum. And they would probably almost never come up in real life.
Sure.
Except with, now I'm thinking about it, auto-driving cars.
Yeah.
Self-driving cars. If you have to program a computer to make a choice. Oh man,
to make moral decisions?
Fuck. Say you're in traffic and you've got a self-driving car and a scenario happens where either you run into a building and you die, you run into a crowd. Say that's a literal trolley problem.
That would suck if your car. Go ahead.
Yeah, but somebody has to program this. Something has to say, save the person in the car or save the pedestrians outside. And I don't think a computer in that moment can tell you, oh, well, there are 4 people in this car, there are 5 people outside, or vice versa. Making that calculation, okay, I'm gonna kill these people versus these people.
Wow.
Yeah, so we are actually running into the trolley problem in real life.
That's crazy. Probably these companies would not make their decisions based on morality.
Yeah, no, they would definitely. I feel in my opinion, I don't know if this is true, but I feel like they would prioritize the person in the car.
Yeah, because that's
their customer.
Yes, exactly. You're absolutely right. I think that's exactly what would happen. Yeah, they're not going to care about how many lives are involved.
Right, because if a person has bought a self-driving car, if the salesperson's like, oh yeah, but if you do get into a scenario where you're about to run into a crowd but you don't have any other option, the car's gonna choose the crowd over you. Nobody'd buy that car.
Yeah, all it would take is for it to happen one time.
Exactly.
And then they'd be like, wow, Toyota.
Yeah.
What's up with that, dude?
Right.
Yeah.
But somebody has to program that car to do that.
Wow.
We're laughing now.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
AI, dude, the AI stuff is crazy.
Yeah, I probably don't even know like that much about it.
I have a friend that's a graphic designer, works for a screen printing company. They do like a bunch of like merch for companies.
Oh yeah.
He was saying that a lot of the artists in that company are now using AI to
like expedite their process or something. Interesting.
And he's really against it.
See, I have an interesting opinion when it comes to things like technological progress like this. So anything, I feel like banning it is not the answer.
Oh, it's
because
already too late.
It's already too late. It's gonna happen. People are going to continue to improve the technology. We need to start thinking ahead. What do we do in the event that this does happen? How do we treat the injury rather than prevent the injury?
Sure.
Unfortunately, I think is where we need to be thinking.
You're absolutely right. It's too late. The cat's out of the bag.
Exactly.
It's like Pandora's box. Like,
exactly.
That's never going away. We have AI now.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's a good question. Is how do we coexist with it? Exactly. Probably the answer is like integration. Like we merge with machines.
Interesting.
Like transhumanism. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's kind of inevitable, actually. Like we're already kind of do this. Like we have computers. Yeah, exactly. Now they have them like in glasses and on your watch.
And see, I think that shit's cool.
It is cool. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Like we're already cyborgs. It's just not like surgical.
Right. It will be.
It definitely will be. Probably sooner.
Actually, some people are with limbs and shit. So,
yeah. There's this guy who like can interact with his computer just by looking at it. Like he's completely paralyzed.
Yeah.
But so this technology exists, and that's definitely where we're headed.
Kill ourselves and the planet first.
So that's interesting. What's your projection for humanity in like, let's say 50 years?
50 years. Oh boy. Well, things are gonna get worse before they get better.
That's true. I totally agree.
Let me see. I think how do I word this? So something is coming to a head, I think. And it's gonna take a bit more to get there. But something's gonna something. I'm not sure what, I'm not sure how, I'm not sure where, obviously. But I think because have you heard the statistic about like how wealth distribution in the country has not been this, or what's the word? Like the gap between the rich and the not rich is like the worst it's been
like
since
disparity.
The disparity has not been this bad since the French Revolution.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh well, that kind of is indicative of where things are headed.
Yes.
Oh, now you're talking my language. So, yeah. And what's funny is America was founded on taking things into our own hands. Like, that's literally how America was born. Is like anti-Archon. Being represented by your government.
Right. But now so many people don't feel represented by their government.
Yeah, more than ever, I'd say. Yeah. And like even after that, like we have the Boston Tea Party. Like no taxation without representation. And that was over something like 2 or 5%. Now our taxes are way, way higher than that. Yeah. And we haven't done anything.
Inflation's
about
also
that.
been a factor.
Yeah, that's true.
And there's also more social programs now.
Hmm.
There's a lot more
Inflation's
funding
actually a
Sorry.
weird thing.
Mm.
Like, why does that exist? Like, I understand the argument, but it doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, why are we printing money? Why are we
So
devaluing the dollar?
I don't think that's entirely everything that makes inflation what it
Okay.
is. I have not taken enough economics classes to
Yeah,
really
honestly,
speak on
me
it.
either.
So
I have no idea what I'm talking about. I have a lot of
I
strong
would-
opinions about things I don't know anything about.
Oh no.
Yeah.
But I would be interested to hear from various economics informed people why inflation happened
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah
Why inflation happened though?
why inflation happened hashtag why inflation
Any economists out there? Come on, let's talk about it.
okay I'll listen to that episode.
Yeah. What were we talking about before that? Oh yeah, I just like people don't feel represented, and I
and
also
not only government but media and everything.
Yeah. And I agree that there's this tension in the air. I think that we all feel,
Yeah.
and it's building.
Yeah.
And eventually that's going to pop.
Yeah.
And
how or why?
I think sooner rather than later is the answer. Like, I mean, well, I think that's what should happen. But I also think that liberty is more important than quality of life. Like,
Okay.
I think the reason we haven't done that, like taken things into our own hands, is because as Americans we're very soft. We have it very good here. Like, it could be a lot better,
but
right?
it could also be a lot worse.
It could be a lot worse.
Yeah.
And it's made us complacent, which is used as a weapon against us. Where basically we will let, like, no one wants either of these fucking idiots that are running for office right now.
Yeah.
It's like
only the like extreme sides are actually like gun pro about any good candidates.
It's a joke. It's such a joke, and we all feel that way. Most of us, except the extremes. You're right. And it's like, well, why is this happening? And the answer is because, well, I think a lot of people are spectating life. Like, life is a thing that like the events that happen are looked at from an outside point of view instead of like being a participant.
I feel like a lot of people won't care about something until it directly affects them.
Sure.
So say you've got, Donna and Joe, middle class, they're not doing great, but they're not, by any means in a, on the street or something. They're just like, I want to live my life, see my kids, see my family. I want to be able to have food on the table. And if they can have all those things, they could probably not give two shits about any other individual or group that might be oppressed in any way.
You're absolutely right. That plays into the complacency. We're also like, we're busy too. We're busy and we're tired.
As well. Yeah.
And like, but it's by the time that people start giving a shit, it's too late.
Exactly.
It's honestly, it's already too late.
Probably. Yeah.
But I mean, if there is any chance of turning things around, like, it's probably already too late. But if there is a chance, it's like right now. It's not 20 years from now. It's not 50 years from now.
Definitely not.
Especially with AI, like with technology, like the weapons that the government has access to.
Right.
Like, we can't fight that.
Right.
So yeah, I have some radical ideas about how we should move forward that we won't get into. But
can't have that out on the internet.
Yeah. I mean,
keep that under wraps.
Alice knows how I feel. But yeah. I mean, that's kind of fucked up too. Like, I can't even say what needs to be done.
And you're gonna get on an FBI watch list.
I'm already on a watch list. but yeah, I mean, yeah, we're supposed to be able to do that, and yet, like,
And yeah,
people that speak out seem to have a lot of problems. Yeah, it's a weird world we live in. It's complicated. I'm with you though that something is going to happen
mhm.
in the near future.
Yeah.
At least in the next 50 years, probably a lot sooner than
Yeah,
that.
and it's gonna be big.
Yeah. What do you think happens after that?
Whew, after.
Do things start to fix themselves after they
No.
collapse?
No, I think humanity's never gonna be fixed.
Okay.
Society is never gonna be a utopia, but does that mean we should stop striving for it? No. Because if you're not hoping for anything, if you're not working towards an ideal goal, what are you even trying to do?
Yeah.
So, after, there's probably going to be a period of kind of just sitting with what happened. Um, maybe either a societal or, there's going to be a rebuilding of some kind, whether it's physical or societal. There's going to be a reformation of something, I feel like. What's the word? Like a rearranging.
Yeah.
As to what it'll look like after, no idea.
Yeah.
Depends on who wins.
Probably, I'm with you. Probably, like, the root of a lot of these problems goes really, really deep. So you can't patch that. It has to be completely torn down and rebuilt. Yeah. Yeah, there's no easy way forward. It's not. It's looking pretty bleak. I'm with you on that.
Yeah. But I mean, despite that, if you look at the course of human history, even though there are still a lot of places where it's like pretty bad, there's also a lot of places where, quality of life, life expectancy, life, just all of those things have gotten better.
Oh, for sure.
Like if we were still hunter gatherers, we'd be dying at like fucking 20, 30, 40 years old, fighting our whole lives trying to get food.
Absolutely.
But generally speaking, in a big grand scheme of things do have an upward trend.
Totally.
Even if they dip sometimes.
I
feel like we're in a dip.
Despite everything, this is the best time to be alive. Like,
yes.
in terms of quality of life.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of things to be like. I stress a lot, like, but I'm also having a great time.
Right.
Yeah, like just here in Nashville.
The fact that you have stress means that, and what are you stressing over, if I might ask? You can be general if you want, but
I have, like, I'm not a Christian, but because of how I was raised, I have deep-seated like Christian guilt, which is like, Jesus talks about how if you're aware of something and you don't do anything about it, you're guilty. And I pay attention to the news, like, not like CNN or Fox,
right,
like third-party news sources, but I pay attention to what's going on and I'm aware of it, and I'm an activist. I'm not spectating, which, taking that on as a responsibility is like literally putting the world on your shoulders. Which I have a good time. Like, I like to go to shows. Like, I'm having a good time, but I don't relax. Very high strung.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
But tell me if I'm wrong, but you do know where your next meal is coming from.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
yeah. I mean, yeah, I've got a decent job and like I have a roof over my head.
Exactly.
Like,
so
that's
what I'm saying is you're at a higher level of stress.
Oh, for sure.
Like I mean, in the hierarchy of needs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your stress is not, where's my next meal coming from? Where am I taking shelter tonight? Your stress is a little bit more,
absolutely,
how do I change the world for the better? Which is still stress, obviously. but it's a different stress.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, quality of life's great.
Yeah.
Like Maslow's hierarchy of needs is met mostly.
Right.
And for me to even be, yeah, like that's a good point. Like the fact that we're sitting here talking philosophy
Exactly.
and world issues
Yes.
shows a lot of privilege. 100%, couldn't agree more. I think that actually plays into what I'm talking about, though, about like because all of these needs are met, people are not focused on big issues. Like we're complacent. A lot of us, not you or me, but like there's a lot of people like what you say, Donna and Joe. What was it?
Oh yeah, that's my parents' names. I just couldn't think of it. It was like my parents' names.
That's hilarious.
I know.
They're your go-to people. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's a lot of people that are just complacent. Like something I disagree with my mom about a lot is like, which I have a good relationship with my parents. Yeah, but
it's nice.
It is nice. A lot of
people don't have
a lot of especially. Are your parents still religious?
Yes.
A lot of kids in our situations don't have that kind of relationship with their parents, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But like something we disagree about often is like God has a plan. Don't stress about it.
Oh my God, my mom says that all the time.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I see what you're saying, but that plan involves like people making a difference in the world.
Yeah.
Like you cannot spectate what's happening. You have to actively participate in it. And I think a lot of people just like it's on my phone, so it's not real. It doesn't involve me.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, like people are not going to do anything until it affects them directly. Yeah. Yeah. That's gonna be too late.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you do is really important, whether you realize that or not.
Really?
Yeah, because like when I was 18 and moved out, like I literally knew nobody.
Really?
And live music saved my life.
Oh.
I wouldn't be here without. So what you do is really important. You don't know what kind of impact you're gonna have on people when they go see you play, or even just seeing your content. You know.
Yeah.
So
thank you for reminding me of that.
Yeah.
Sometimes
absolutely.
I'm like, oh, I just need to post something. Just post something, so people don't, forget that I'm here, so the algorithm likes me, But that is something I need to keep in mind. So
Yeah.
Thank you.
Art is very important, and I know a lot of artists don't realize how important it is, but yeah. It's the only thing keeping us sane is good art, right? Or what remnants of sanity that we have. Speaking of mental health, I've never met anyone that's like okay. Like we all have a lot of issues. Yeah. Yeah. I think human nature is good. We just live in a sick world. And maybe that's naive of me.
Very Christian thought,
Yeah.
Actually.
Well, that's deeply ingrained in me. Yeah. I do have like when I was 18 and moved out, I was very like annoyingly atheist, like a not in your face atheist.
I got you.
And I had a phase of like fuck around and find out, like seeking out spirits, like with Ouija boards and psychedelic drugs.
Yeah.
And like,
did you find anything?
Yeah, if you go looking for that, you will find it.
Okay.
I think if people don't, I should be clear, I don't like necessarily encourage that.
Okay.
I'm not like an advocate of like, oh, you should go like
search for the spiritual world.
Yeah. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I am saying that if someone has like a curiosity or a skepticism and they seek it out, you will find that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where was I going with that? I don't remember. Oh, but at this point in my life, I have a healthy respect for scripture. My biggest problem with organized religion and Christianity is they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Like, probably everyone knows more about the Bible than Christians do. I would say. It's like a lot of atheists know a lot about the Bible because they have to be annoying about it. You know what I mean?
I got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I am not spiritual or religious. Even when I was trying, I could not feel anything earnestly. I was like, I feel like I always say this every time I describe my, I guess, religious journey. I It was like putting a square peg in a round hole. It just wouldn't. Nothing fit. Nothing stuck. Nothing made me think, yeah, there's something out there beyond this world.
What was that journey like?
Just
were you exploring, like, specifically Christianity?
Yeah, mostly because I didn't really have, like, my parents were Christian, so like that's just what I knew.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I didn't like I was Catholic for a while, and I was like really Catholic. I was doing all the right things, but at the end of the day, like I was in class, and because so I was in not my religion class in high school, but one of my other classes, and we were and I think it was actually like U.S. government or something, or no, it was like about current events, politics or something like that. I don't know, but so we were talking about LGBTQ plus rights, and I don't know, something was said. I don't even remember exactly what, and it was almost like I could hear my faith shatter. So I was like, that is, if I believe this, I cannot believe this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
So those just clashed so hard in me, it broke.
I feel like that's a misunderstanding, not on your part, but on their part, of like what the Bible is. It's like I said, Christians know less about the Bible than anybody. How old were you when you had that?
17, 18.
17. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's I could get into it deeper, but that's probably a conversation for another time. But there's a lot going on with specifically the Old Testament that people are not aware about. It's not common knowledge, especially among, I would say, not only Christians, but like secular Judaism. A lot of them don't really understand what the Torah is. There is like a level of that's actually, it's called Kabbalah.
I think you were talking about this in one of your other episodes that I listened
to. Probably. Wait. Did you watch the one with Sydney and Danny?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That went deep down the Torah rabbit hole.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that stuff is not common knowledge, and I
had no idea. I was like,
yeah, shout out to Danny Burgess. He is all that dude does is he reads Hebrew, so he knows the Hebrew text, and there's a bunch of coded information in there that a lot of people are not aware of.
How does he know that it's coded though?
So there's this thing called gematria. In Hebrew there are no numbers. So more correctly, the numbers are the same as their letters. So if you're reading a scroll and you're an Israelite, you're reading numbers and letters at the same time. So you're getting two different messages. We can sit there and translate it like into alphanumerics, like A is 1, B is 2.
Yeah.
But they didn't have to do that. They're just getting two messages at once. And as soon as you translate that into English, you've completely lost it.
Yeah, that makes sense. My degree is actually in French, so I'm like really interested in like languages and
right on
how they work and everything.
Nice.
So yeah, that's interesting.
Are you like semi-fluent?
Yeah.
Right on. That's cool.
It's my degree, so I'd hope so.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, je peux parler français si quelqu'un veut, mais c'est pas assez. I'm a little rusty.
I totally agree with whatever you just said.
If somebody wants me to speak French, but it's not. I'm a little rusty.
I gotcha.
I recently went back to France actually for a week in May to visit a friend of mine that I met when I was studying abroad, and that was a really good time.
What's something about French culture that Americans would find shocking?
Shocking?
Or like they're just not aware of?
I don't know. feel like everybody knows about la bise, like the kisses, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But I feel like it is shocking when you actually have to do it.
It's like this is like shaking hands.
It's literally shaking hands.
Okay.
But it's how you greet somebody. And like, so when I was over there and I was, meeting like my friends' friends and whatnot, they would be like, "Ah, salut," and I was like, "Oh, this is weird." Like, it was a gesture that I was unfamiliar with and unaccustomed to. So it's not shocking as in like nobody knows about this, but it's shocking when you have to do it.
Yeah.
It's just, oh yeah, I am in a different culture. Fuck.
You were telling me about that Japanese instrument earlier.
The koto, yes.
Yeah. Are you a weeb?
I wouldn't say a weeb. My minor's in Japanese, so.
So yeah. Just kidding.
No.
Just kidding.
Don't do that to me.
I've weaved a time or two myself.
Yeah, I wouldn't call myself a weeb. No.
I'm not one of those.
I'm not one of those people.
Weebs.
No, because I feel like the definition of weeb is like
specifically like in a bad way.
Yes, but literally it means like you hold like Japanese culture to like it is the gold standard of like any culture, and I'm like, no. There are problems and good things about every culture. And even those problems like could be just because I'm coming from one culture and viewing it from my own bias. Yeah. So it's like,
here's one for you.
Oh.
Are all cultures equal?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
I hard disagree. But
whoa!
That's another
that is another
unlikable opinion. Yeah, I'm full of them.
I've noticed.
Well, it's cool that we're still having a conversation.
No, I think it's interesting to talk to people with different opinions.
Yeah.
You can't get too into a bubble.
Me too. That isn't to say that I think America is the best, but I do.
So think... you're a weeb.
Yes. Yeah, Japan is better than everybody. Oh, that's funny. No, I mean, like, I don't think I think again, I believe in objective morality. I think some answers are better than others.
Okay.
And examples of that would be like women should be able to drive.
Okay.
And like to have the same rights as men.
Okay.
Right? Like,
yeah.
That's not equivalent to what we have going on.
Right. Okay.
Like, so I don't think all cultures are equal. And I also don't think it should be looked at as a racist thing for me to say that. Like, because it is looked at that way. Like, for example, I don't think I wouldn't call myself like religiously tolerant either. Like, there's a lot of problems. If you were like, there's a reason Christians don't live the Bible like word for word, because that would be horrible. That would be awful, right? Like, we've abandoned but like Christians have abandoned a lot of that. Yeah. Become secular.
Yeah.
It's like, any religion that's practicing the awful shit, it's like, I'm not going to pretend that's okay.
I got you. I would say only those within a culture can decide whether there are aspects of their culture that like they individually agree with or don't. Like, from an outsider's perspective, I can't say, as much as I hate to say this, and if in some cultures women can't drive, which does happen and does exist, but if none of the women in that culture want to drive or are actively like, I want to drive, they're if that's just how it is and they're okay with that, who am I to judge? But there are obviously and like groups of women who are like, no, I want to drive.
Yeah, that's the problem.
So
yeah.
But like there are aspects of, say, American culture that like there are activists actively trying to change.
Right.
So it's
America has a lot of problems. I'm not like
I'm just saying, but we can judge American culture because we're in American culture. I feel like trying to judge a culture from the outside is a bit problematic.
Yeah, I'm a bit problematic. No, I definitely respect what you're saying. Yeah, I think the problem is not all of the women in Iran, for example, are okay with what's happening.
Right, but that's how they, you know, how do I word this? But because there is that group of women, that means that there is some subset that is like, no, that's not okay, and they're totally obviously within their rights, in my opinion, to actively try and get rights to drive.
Yeah,
because they're within the culture, they can judge it.
Yeah, there definitely are freedom fighters in these oppressive countries that are trying and like being killed for it. And but no, I actually think it's really awesome that you and I can disagree. Like I would say strongly about this and still have a civil conversation about it.
Definitely.
Like it's actually really important. And I have a lot of respect for you, like having that conversation.
We're just talking.
We're just two ignorant Americans talking about shit we don't understand. But like, yeah, I mean, there is like a semblance of importance to that. I don't think enough people have difficult conversations.
I wouldn't even call this difficult, really.
Okay, it is for some people.
Oh, is it?
Oh, for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah, not everyone's willing to talk about this kind of stuff. It's actually, yeah, it's really cool of you to do that. Not everyone's willing to do that. I don't have a lot of issues with it on like my show, but like some of the stuff we're talking about would be looked at as problematic. At least this, excuse me, the stuff I'm saying would be.
Well,
but I mean, also, like, I think you understand that I'm coming from a good place when I say that.
Yeah,
like,
I don't think you're coming from like a malicious place.
For sure.
I think actually, in your argument is actually, in some ways, more. How do I word this? You're looking at the other culture and being like, well, no, that's like you're looking at the oppressive parts of other cultures and being like, that's not right. And you're like, I want those people who are feeling oppressed to not be oppressed. I think that's actually like a very noble thing.
Well, thank you. And yeah, I wouldn't call myself like religiously tolerant. Like there's a lot of issues in the world that I'm not okay with, and I'm not going to pretend it's okay. Here in America too, to be clear.
Yeah.
Like I don't think America is like this bastion of freedom that a lot of Americans think it is. In fact, the things that, in my opinion, make America a good place are like don't exist. Like I like the idea of America, but in practice, it's not actually like that. Like people, even though
theory versus reality,
even though like in a literal sense we can say what we want to, there's a lot of things that like hold people back from being able to do that. A lot of people are scared to.
Actually, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I have an opposite opinion. Okay. I think, well, not opposite really, but a different kind of. I think rather than because we can say whatever we want, we almost say too much, if that makes sense. Like, you can put out propaganda.
Yeah.
As long as it's, like, it's following the letter of the law, you can literally misinformation and misguide people all you want.
Yeah. Do you think there should be bans around that? Like there should be stricter laws about what you can say because of that?
That's a hard question.
Yeah, because I agree with you. That's a huge problem.
Yeah.
A lot of people fall into that trap of propaganda. I would also say that it is on the individual to use their own discernment about what is good and what is wrong.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Rather than like,
if only our education system hadn't failed us.
Yeah, no kidding.
If only people taught us how to spot propaganda.
My only strong political opinion is that I hate the government and they ruin everything, and that's bipartisan.
Yeah.
Like I hate the government. Alice knows this, and yeah, that's across the board. I also don't, and again, this is not like, this has nothing to do with the most recent election, but I don't think our votes really matter at all. I think
Mm,
it's all predetermined.
interesting.
I think, yeah, the idea that we have democracy in this country is a fucking lie. And that's not just the last election. I think that's every election in my lifetime, at least.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a conspiracy theorist.
I've noticed.
Yeah. I love talking to people with different opinions, though.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say because like I I mean, wow, I don't even know where I want to go with this. Whether the elections are rigged, I don't know. But I will say that money plays a strong
For sure. Yeah.
element of that.
Even if the ballots are counted, there's a lot that influences
Who and when,
who, yeah.
why.
For example, we're choosing between two people that no one really wants.
Right.
What's that about? And it's like, well, the DNC put forward this person,
Right.
and the RNC or whatever it is put forward this person.
Right.
And it's like, I mean, I don't care for either of these people.
Right. Exactly. So like a lot of money and strategic like
Yeah.
behind the scenes kind of stuff happened probably to make this a thing that
Yeah.
now we have to deal with as the populace.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much everyone I've talked to agrees that like the government is corrupt, our legal system is corrupt. Everyone knows that. Yeah, like no one has ever challenged me on that.
Honestly, I would go further. I would say that like we like a lot of people are like, oh, we live in a meritocracy. Like if you have the right or like you can do it if you want to, like you don't need connections or like I'm like, are you kidding yourself? I work in an office where I will put my entire salary, my year's salary down to bet that almost all of them were referred to the company by somebody already within it.
Yeah.
Nobody got that job without connections.
Yeah.
Except for actually me. Now that I think about it. Now that I think about it, I did interview with like, but I did kind of have a connection. Now that I did mention something in my interview that could have been considered a connection. So
for sure.
Like, almost all of them were referrals.
Yeah, absolutely. And art's the same way. Like we were talking about Taylor Swift earlier, which I actually like some of her music.
I do too.
But like her dad was a major investor in the label that originally put her out. And it's like that is not a rags to riches story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's asylum where they raised me.
I know. I'm like, okay.
No, I know. I get that she's telling a story in that song, but still, it is a funny line for her to sing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's yeah. Again, so I don't like think popularity is like a determining factor on how good something is. Switching gears.
Okay.
We were talking about ghost stories.
Oh yeah.
When I say ghost story, I should clarify a little bit because that like puts this context on it of like ghosts existing.
Okay.
That's like saying ghost story like has a lot of implications to it. So really what I mean is, have you ever experienced anything that you can't logically explain?
Yes, actually, now that I think about it. This is kind of an interesting one, and it's actually kind of common, I think. When I was looking at colleges to go to, I was on this like college tour with my high school or whatever, and there was this one school that I looked at the name and I was like, that sounds so dumb. It was like this tiny school in Atlanta, and I was like, I've never heard of this school. Like this is such an awful name for a university. Like they don't even look that interesting. Whatever. I'm not even gonna like bother focusing on this one. And we got on the campus and I talked to the people and I said, this is where I'm going. It was pretty supernatural, honestly, for me to like I had such a strong anti-opinion on this school before visiting, and then the moment I was like on their campus, I just knew that became my first choice.
And you can't really associate that with any specific thing. It was just
no, I just something, and I was like, I don't even know what it was. It was like I've told this story before, and I just something told me you go here.
In retrospect, did you like that school?
I did.
Right on.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Something has told you that's
where I was meant to be.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, any experience I've had, like I've and if you're interested, I'll tell you later. But like Alice has heard all these stories before. But like I've had a lot of experiences with what I would consider supernatural, but I've never seen like a poltergeist, like nothing that breaks the laws of physics.
Yeah.
Everything I've experienced, although I don't think is an adequate explanation, could be explained with psychology. Like Occam's razor would just tell us that like it's like a schizophrenic break or something. It can be explained logically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like Occam's razor for that scenario would be that I don't know, you liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think those again, it's not an adequate explanation, but it's an explanation that works.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like I don't know. Magic is kind of an antiquated term.
Okay.
Like I like it because I'm a poet and there's some poetry to magic, saying it that way.
Yeah.
Instead of just like the hard sciences.
Yeah.
You know? But it's all just words. Like it's all just about how you look at things. So what do you think about that? Like that situation that happened?
Like I'm confused.
Can you?
Sorry.
Well, I guess I asked you if there's anything that happened you can't explain. So the answer would be you can't explain it.
Yeah, I can't explain why that place felt
Okay.
like home to me when I just visited for
I got you.
a little bit.
Yeah. So yeah, so you don't know why that happened.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Do you have any ideas about what happens after we die? And nobody knows.
Right.
But
I kind of just think we cease to exist and we don't exist anymore.
That's a perfectly reasonable explanation. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think poof, I'm gone. Or poof, you're gone.
Do you how do you believe in aliens?
No.
Oh, well, okay.
I believe in the possibility of aliens.
Okay, wait. So
I don't believe that we've had any contact with them.
Okay, I got you. So, okay, I understand what you're saying. It's not necessarily that you're like, no, hard lines were the only thing in the universe.
Right.
They just haven't interacted with Earth.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha. What about like interdimensional aliens? Like possible, but no interaction?
Probably not.
Okay.
Well, if they're interdimensional, it's possible they could have influenced something on another dimension that we just aren't aware of, but it has happened.
That's a good point. We really wouldn't know what influence would look like if it's interdimensional.
Yeah.
At least if it's extraterrestrial, that's observable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like something I ask people is where do you think art comes from? Like
that's a good question.
I have a lot to say about that, but do you have any initial thoughts on that just off the bat?
You know, for somebody myself who's not spiritual, I hate that I'm inclined to say it like, because like when I'm inspired, especially, I don't know where it comes from. Like there are things that I've literally written, and then like I realize years down the road what I meant.
Yes, it happens to me all the time.
It's a subconscious kind of thing.
I know exactly what you mean.
And I'm like, how did I express something I didn't even know at the time what I was doing?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess art is making the subconscious conscious.
Okay.
It's an expression of that.
Yeah, I think. Do you want to take a break and get some more? Okay. That happens to me all the time. Like I'm reading something I wrote before, and I'm like, "Whoa, I didn't realize I did that."
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's also like, what's your process like? What's your writing process like?
It's evolved over the years, but currently, I think I described it a little bit earlier. I write the background music kind of first. I come up with the melodies and the bass lines, and just all the parts, the percussion if necessary, and then I write the lyrics. So are you talking specifically about the lyric writing process then, I guess?
So it's okay. So I'm sorry. You said it starts
With
with the
the
melody.
sometimes
Okay.
either that or like a melody that becomes a part of like maybe like a lower part or
Okay.
yeah.
So sometimes it starts with lyrics. Sometimes it starts with melody.
Most of the time nowadays it starts with melody or
Okay.
something with pitch.
And how do you come up with that melody? Is it you just playing around, or
Yeah, I'm just noodling.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, you did say that earlier. My bad.
No worries. Yeah. Like like
Haunting.
thank you. My stuff tends to come out like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just made that up on the spot right now. So I just kind of do that until I find something that I'm like, ooh, that was fun. Let me take that, revise, and build off of it. So I just find like a little smidgen of an idea and then I expound upon it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm specifically interested in stuff like that when I talk to um, like people who aren't like spiritually inclined, because that like I specific like one of the best ghost stories I've ever heard on this was from like a staunch atheist,
that's funny.
and I'm like, yeah, I'm specifically interested to hear what people like that have to say
Yeah.
about like spiritual issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, let's see what else. We talked about what happens after we die. We talked about aliens,
Yeah.
ghosts, where inspiration comes from, like the muse.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so because we talked about aliens. I kind of already know how you feel about this, but how did humans come to be?
Evolution.
Just yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I don't have a better theory.
sure. No, I mean me either. Like yeah, there's the idea of like a missing link. Like there seems like a jump, but
okay, I think I've heard that.
that jump can also just be explained with like a long-term gradient.
Yeah.
Like there isn't a link. It just took
Yeah.
a very, very long time to
Yeah.
get here.
Yeah.
I think that's not only an adequate explanation, but again, using Occam's razor, that would tell us that's the simplest explanation,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Time. That's
Time.
actually a big theme in my writing.
Time.
Time. When I get anxious or like just anxious really, it's mostly when my anxiety shoots up. I get obsessed with time and how little of it I have and how much of it I am wasting.
Yeah.
And it really stresses me out. It's very hard to break that kind of anxiety spell. So I have to like distance and kind of step away for a minute because I like around I think it was last year or the year before, I had a really bad summer where I was like just obsessed with okay, I need to wake up at 5 a.m., start working on music. After that, I'll get ready for work. I'll go to work. After work, I'll go to my piano lesson. Like, because I was like, I need to I need to time max. Like, I need to max every single second I have on this earth in order to achieve my goals. Because otherwise, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And it was not a good summer. I literally wrote out in my journal, I was like, things that are superfluous in life. And one of those things was hanging out with friends and doing nothing. So that's how bad it was.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's memento mori.
Yeah.
Remember that you will die.
Yeah.
Death gives life meaning.
Yeah.
It's like if you're an elf and you live to be 5,000 years old. I can do that tomorrow.
Right.
There's like urgency
right.
with the human experience.
Right.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah,
we're all getting older constantly.
Yeah.
And we will die.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So it's
Life is shorter than I wouldn't say anyone wants it to be, but most people want it to be.
Yeah.
I think that's healthy. That's what inspires action, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you cope with anxiety? It's mostly just art.
Actually, no. When I'm super anxious, I can't make art.
Oh, okay.
Because my brain is not focused enough.
That makes sense.
It's like going all over the place
Yeah.
all the time, way too fast. So I actually am better. I think it like after I've processed, that's when I write my music.
I gotcha.
Like after, way after, or not even way after, but after something is passed, it's not very common for me to write something in the moment.
When was the last time you cried?
I think it was at work the other day.
That's fair.
I was
Yeah.
literally like, somebody came up to me and they were like, "Hey, Tess, can you like make sure we never run out of this?" And I was like,
No.
I was
can't.
so pissed off, and eventually so then I like ran out to the store, even though I had way more important shit to be doing. I ran out to the store and I literally just almost maxed out my credit card. Not really, but I maxed out my credit card because then I would expense it later on buying just all these random supplies that he wanted. And I was like, and then I lugged it all back into the office, and then I was just very, very angry. And then my coworker was like, "Yo, what's up, Tess?" And I was like, ah, and I just kind of like blew up, and I was crying. He's like, "Tess, go take a walk." Okay.
Work sucks.
Yeah. I generally like my job though, but there are those moments where I'm just like,
And
I'm
still,
strangle somebody.
still a job.
Still
Yeah.
a job. Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in love?
Maybe once. And it was probably the only time I've ever like felt it without like, so I have been in quite a few relationships. And that's not to say that they were without love, but they weren't with a deep, true
I know
love.
what you mean. Yeah.
And I don't, I feel like for me to feel a deep, true love, I need to feel it without the other person reciprocating first. Like, I need to be the one to fall in love. Because if somebody likes me, I can learn to like them.
I see.
But if I fall in love with a person, then I know, even if they don't reciprocate it, then I know I really love that person.
Yeah.
And the only time that has happened was in high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that a reciprocal thing?
No.
Yeah.
I never confessed to her.
I gotcha.
So, yeah.
Actually,
And then I was like texting her one day after we graduated. I was working like as an intern at some small office, and I was texting her. She was like, "Oh, I'm going somewhere with my boyfriend," and I was like, "Boyfriend? Boy who is a friend or boyfriend?" I literally texted that. She was like, "No, we're dating." That was hard.
Do you know if she was into girls at all? Or
I don't know. I think she might have been.
yeah.
She seemed like she would be, but I was.
I can relate to that. I've also been in several relationships that I couldn't like really fully invest into because I was hung up on. I don't know if I'm capable of being in a committed relationship. I've tried.
Yeah. See, I can be committed, but I can't be. I don't know if I like. I can. Like, I've been in a long-term relationship. I've dated this guy in college for 4 years, but I'm also asexual. So it's like a lot of people struggle with the no sex thing, you know.
Yeah.
So I really did like him. I might have loved him, but it wasn't. I don't think it was just like I said. It was he fell for me first, and then I like learned to love him.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So and because we were just together all the time, I learned to love him. So I don't really know where I was going with that.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, it's yeah. When I said I don't know if I can be a committed relationship, that isn't to say I like would cheat. I've never done that.
Right.
But like, I can't. Like, I'm emotionally unavailable because I'm hung up on the same person, and that's hard to talk about. But like,
So you
here I am talking with you about it on a podcast. No, I think it like I'm really big into, like I said, I was a Jehovah's Witness, and I don't have time to hide who I am or like be dishonest. Life's too short for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, you were gonna say something. Okay. Have you ever been betrayed, whether romantically, secularly?
What do you mean by betrayed?
Yeah. I don't know if I can actually. That's a good question. I probably should have thought about that before I asked you.
No, I think it's fine. I think not knowing kind of can also get can elicit some interesting answers.
Yeah.
Just based on my interpretation of what I thought you meant.
Yeah.
But I actually have no idea what you meant.
What do you? Okay. Yes, that you're right. What is betrayal to you?
I feel like betrayal to me is like, I have a trust in you, and you say you're gonna you say you say I'm gonna do XYZ for you, or I'm gonna do XYZ, and you just don't do it. Or you say you're not gonna do a thing and you do it anyway.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's ever happened to me.
I feel like that happens all the time.
Really?
The way you just defined it, yeah. Okay. I mean, well, then again, I don't know if I can name a time.
Yeah, I'm struggling to like name a specific.
Well, that's probably a good thing, right? That means like you're not affected by it if it has happened.
Then it's not betrayal. If it didn't affect me, I feel like betrayal implies that it affected me somehow.
Sure. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really can't think of anything. I'm sure there's got to be something, but
it probably has, and it sounds healthy that you can't, like, you're not, nothing's coming to mind.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Woo! Help me! Mental health!
Well, Tess, it was good talking to you.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely.
This has been a really, really fun
conversation.
This has
been a fun conversation.
This has been good.
Yeah. Whenever you're have something else that you're developing or like a big show, I'd love to have you back on sometime.
Oh yeah, I'd love to come back. Thanks.
And check out Tessu. We didn't even plug you're doing a writers round.
Yeah, I'm doing a writers round on July 19th, so it's coming up pretty soon. It is at Fat Bottom Brewery. It's with Popville, organized by Popville. Gonna have a lot of really cool artists. Starts at 6. I'll be on at 9. It's gonna be a good time. You can check out my Instagram. It's at Tessu Music, and I have all the details there as well.
Check out Tessu, Alice. I'll put a link to your Instagram down below, and catch her at Fat Bottom. See ya.